In this video, we will be talking about how to calculate a pain and suffering settlement. Pain and suffering are important factors in many personal injury cases, but proving them can be difficult. There are two main areas of pain and suffering according to personal injury law. The first is your physical pain and your mental anguish. The second is the emotional distress associated with a personal injury, and that includes the emotional effects of chronic or intense pain. Again, we're talking about pain and suffering. That's actual pain and discomfort, as well as physical limitations, not just those at the time of the injury, but also those in the future. Mental pain and suffering may include depression, mental anguish, anxiety, or other emotional disorders. Emotional distress may present itself in different ways depending on the individual. And when we're talking about this could be a loss of consortium, such as the loss of the ability to be intimate with your partner or any other emotional or psychological trauma. So how do you value this? That's the question. Although personal injury lawsuits are common, there is no accepted method for calculating the amount of pain and suffering someone has endured. This calculation can be made by a person's personal injury lawyer during settlement proceedings or in front of a jury. Judges advise juries to use good sense in determining what would be a fair and reasonable amount to compensate for a plaintiff's trauma. The most common way of calculating the value of a case is to use a multiple, called a multiplier, based on actual costs. These may include your hospital bills, doctor fees, lost wages, damages to property, all relatively easy to calculate. For some, it's simply a matter of adding up the receipts and the bills for the medical care. But determining the value of pain and suffering can be more than just adding up medical bills. We have to remember that we have to include the mental anguish, loss of consortium, or any other emotional damage suffered by the claimant as a result of an injury caused by another party's negligence. Current pain and suffering has a clear and definite endpoint. However, pain and suffering must be estimated into the future in personal injury cases. When calculating the pain and suffering in a settlement demand, a personal injury lawyer will convince the insurance adjuster or the jury of the impact the injuries will have on the quality of life. To succeed in raising your settlement amounts, you must be able to prove pain and suffering if the injury caused you to sink into a depression. You can prove this by submitting medical records of treatment by a psychologist or a psychiatrist. You can also aid in this process by writing a journal that details your symptoms. If you are unable to sleep after an accident, for example, submit copies of prescriptions for sleeping pills from your doctor, as well as an account written over time detailing how little rest you've been getting and why. Always be prepared to speak about what you lost and how you suffered as a result of the accident. Again, recording a journal during recovery will help. It will help you accurately represent your injuries in court. Remember to be realistic about your injuries, and don't forget to communicate honestly and openly with your attorney. I hope this video gives you some insight into how an injury case can be valued. Every case is different, and what I've talked about is just a few aspects to setting a settlement value. Be sure to click the link in the description for more information on valuing your personal injury case.